record on my computer. All right, great. We are recording. Jenny, you want to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Hi guys, my name is Jenny Thamir and I am a triple diamond with It Works. And I am so excited for this, the amazing Mira Denning. So her and I actually met, it was almost exactly a year ago, September of 2017. So I have an awesome team up in Maine, and I flew up there for a boot camp, and Mira and I happened to be on a panel together because she was like co-hosting the boot camp. And so we really got to know each other and just hit it off. And we've been friends ever since, cheering each other on because we are sidelines, you know, we're not on the same team or anything. But, and she has done some amazing things this year. I'm not going to tell her story, but I will say this past month, I was getting lots and lots of text updates all throughout the day and the night with how many boxes she needed for presidential, how much volume she needed. And I'm telling you, from where she told me she was September 1st to where she was September 30th, right? Not 31st, yeah. 30th. It was just an amazing things that happened. So Mira is up in Portland, Maine area. I think you're not quite in Portland, but that area. And you've been in for what, about 3.5 years now or so?
Yeah, I joined in March 2015. So about getting a little closer to 4, but yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. But I'll just let you go ahead. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about like before It Works, like what you were doing, when you got started, and kind of like your journey, and then especially where things are at, like what happened this year.
Yeah, no, also I'll give like maybe like a, you know, like a 10-minute version. Does that make sense? And then you can kind of have me break down what you want me to. So I started with It Works when I was 38 years old. So I wasn't a totally young pup there. And my situation was that I had sort of gone to really good schools, went to law school, was a lawyer for 8 years, then switched over to the corporate side of my industry. I'd been a healthcare lawyer and I switched over to the corporate side. And so kind of climbed the ranks in healthcare from a like operation administration leadership perspective. And so by the time I found It Works, I was actually a vice president of a $2 billion health system, which sounds perfect and amazing and all of that. But we were kind of secretly drowning in debt, financial issues and the like. We had kind of committed when I was 29, 30 to like a lifestyle, kind of keeping with the Joneses in a really nice house and all this stuff that fit where we thought we were going. But then my husband's business failed, and we never really got that income back going. And so instead we were kind of stuck with all of this, big stuff, this big material stuff and tons of credit cards and all of that with only my income. And so that really, like, by the time that I found this business at age 38 was kind of in a desperate situation, hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt if you count law school. We had both gone to law school and college and credit cards and stuff from his business and the IRS from his business and all of the, like, just so much stuff. And so I was totally desperate. At the same time, I was also snotty about the business, like so many of us. So I'd watched a friend post and post and post, and I was totally one of those people. I was making fun of her at first, like, what is she doing? And gradually I broke down and I ordered the greens. And then finally, I remember on March 27th, 2015, seeing her post that either she had charted or earned the double good, double diamond bonus, which was $30,000 at the time. And I was like, what the heck? Like, how is she earning $30,000 and my life is like literally falling apart? So I texted her and I signed up literally within 30 minutes of that, text, knowing almost nothing. I'd only tried the greens and got going. And I knew next to nothing. But I just really honestly, like, I should add that I'm a green red. So that green broke down real fast. How do I make money? And the red got the action going. And so within the first 4 weeks, month, I did hit the Ruby $1,000 bonus that was there. And I was just ignorance on fire that whole first year. So I hit a diamond $10,000 bonus, and then in my 12th month, the double diamond, double good bonus myself at 30,000. And so that first year was just like me running, figuring stuff out as I went, and really pulling a team with me. I wasn't at that point really inspiring other people to duplicate. It was more just pulling. And so that was amazing when it happened, but because I was doing so much of the work myself and not really teaching and inspiring others, it fell apart in my second year. And I found my second year that I eventually lost that double good, went back down to diamond, and sat there for many months. There was a period of time where I saw some people fade away or quit in my upline that were doubles or even triple diamonds that had been sort of my friends and leaders that got me in the business. But I'll just be honest with you, my financial situation was so bad that giving up, even though I was just getting a diamond paycheck, like that wasn't a thought in my mind for any real amount of time. But I was definitely struggling, like frustrated, not having fun. Where are my people? And it took a lot of that to kind of get to a place where I was open to be a better leader. I actually think Allie's told her story. I've heard her tell her story, and I feel like there's a little bit of parallels in some of the things that she and I have gone through. But I didn't stop posting. I was posting every day. I was really loud, about the business. If anything, I got better and better and better at like attraction marketing and branding myself in that second year while I was struggling. But sometimes struggling is necessary to find your voice and figure out what's important, what's going to work for you. And in my 20th month, at really my worst month of December 2016, where I thought I was going to lose diamond for the first time, and I only kept it because I paid, a little bit for volume. This is some of this stuff is why I wanted rubies and above only on this phone call. I had a woman message me that was local, and she's cold market, but she was local. We went out to coffee, and the upshot was that she really wanted to be home with her babies and was a teacher and just had her second one. So she jumped in, and, it took me 20 months, but I found my first runner that was as willing to do the stuff that I wanted to do, to run and really try to change our lives. And that kind of spirited up this whole new season of my business. The first wave of that was getting my double back. And so work with her and her team. And I will go a lot more into tactics, but we got her steady, and she made diamond in 6 months. And I was working on my second leg, and got my double back. And then, but I still kind of felt like double was where I was. That's just where I was. Like, that's who I was. And I was still working full time. We can talk about that a little bit. But then a couple things happened in August and September of 2018 to bring us into this year. My marriage, that I honestly, part of me kind of joined the business because I was thinking maybe if I fix the finances, I'll fix my marriage. Of course, that's not how life works. But the divorce was final August 22nd of 2017. And 2 weeks later, we had our very first event ever in Maine. Like ever. And that was the mini boot camp that Jenny described. I met Mary Beth Dodd for the first time, and she really became effectively like a second upline to me, mentoring me very intensively, especially in the beginning. I met Jenny, and I started connecting deeper to higher uplines that basically I had been buried under, all the people, my local uplines. So I just hadn't known them before, but I was the only one still really working. So all suddenly, they saw me, and all of that started putting some real positive energy and good people around me. And the divorce kind of got rid of some toxicity. And so I work with a lot of people that are going through really toxic situations, whether they're on my team or sidelines. And that's a whole nother topic, but it can really shape your business if you're going through that, or you change it. You get past it rather. So all of that, but honestly, some of that ended up being that. So it was the circle, it was the environment. The environment shifted, and that was enormous. But that also gave me space to think about what the heck am I doing? And I recognized very quickly that my mindset was all screwed up, you guys. First of all, I really legitimately was like saying things to people like, oh, I'll never get 30,000 group volume, like 30,000 BV, ha ha ha, that's not me. Like I legitimately believe that, and I would say that. Well, of course, what happened? I wasn't hitting 30,000 group volume. You know, you're putting those things in your head. Triple to me was just scary. Like I was straight up scared. I didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think I had the skill set. It just seemed so far off. And I remember looking at conference of people on stage, and I'd be like, these people are gorgeous and they're glamorous. And I'm like 39, 40 years old, and I barely know how to put on lipstick. Like, this is not me. And so I really struggled with a lot of self-worth around that. And then, you know, I ultimately just kicked my butt that month in September 2017 with all of this stuff. I mean, I recognized it, and I said, why am I limiting myself? And that mindset shift led me to start thinking bigger, dreaming bigger, and getting, again, the red personality kicked in. I got a little mad at myself, and not in an unhealthy way, but in a kind of healthy way, getting mad at myself. Like, no, you're not holding yourself back anymore. I did a lot of personal development stuff, which I can talk about to then get where I was going. But ultimately what ended up is I went on a run. And so that's when I started hitting Steps to Success 3 or 4 times a month, every single month. And people that are not mass enrollers, it may or may not even be a goal of yours to be a mass enroller, but you can change that. And I did. And all of it, like there was Christmas cash going on. So a lot of people thought I was going for big Christmas cash goals, but what was happening in my head was like, no, I was going triple diamond. I was sick of being double. I'm not double, I'm triple. and some of it was ego, but also I knew that financially I just needed a little bit more. So I pushed for 6 months, you guys, 6 months. I want you to understand this was not like 6 weeks, because I was only paid as a diamond in December 2017. So from end of September, all the way to the end of March, all I had in my head was triple diamond. And I worked so hard on so many different things, personal development, coaching skills, leadership skills, which we can unpack. And throughout that, I started recruiting runner. And all of a sudden, my team was loaded. My group volume was way accelerating. And I hit triple in March, still working full time. Then as a single mom, because I do have primary custody of my son. And I hit that goal. I struggled for about a month. Honestly, a lot of that was just sleep deprivation for the last 6 months. What's next? And then they dropped all these promotions all summer, and my team just kept exploding. All this culture, all this work ethic that I had basically fed my team as part of my own development, just kept steamrolling. And all of a sudden, you know, like Jenny was saying, I looked after all those July promotions in particular. I looked up at September. I was like, I'm close to press. So I had, 15 distributors left to go, and I don't know, 1 trillion GB. I mean, it was a lot of volume, but I just basically worked with the runners, filled those spots myself. Throughout the summer into September, even like right now where I'm really tired still from the Pres run, my distributor enrollments have gone up to like 20 or 30 a month, which is insane to me. I mean, I had months where I had 0, 2, all of that during my first couple of years. And so I can talk about that as well. And then obviously hit Pres, and we can talk. And I know, Jenny, this is kind of what even inspired you to ask me to do the Zoom. I pulled in personally about 5,000 BV in new volume myself, like about the last 13, 14 days of the month in September, to get Pres, to fill the gaps that I had to fill. I was at maintenance volume at the end of the month, but it was, it's balanced, but I had 1 diamond that I basically had to do, 2/3 of the volume for. So that's kind of the, I don't know, that's a lot in there, but that's kind of my story. So you can hear, like, I went from really just that, what I would consider a normal distributor, working full time, kind of came into plug in budget gaps, all the way to now I retired in June from my job. Finally, this is just full-time income. And my vision is so big, like straight up going ambassador, figuring out how to get there, have runners all over my team. All 5 legs have runners now, multiple runners in some of those legs. And that is not where I started, and that's not where I was a year ago. So it's just amazing what's possible. All right, I'm gonna stop there, Jenny. You tell me what.
No, that's awesome. So I think it needs to be noted also that your dad's account, is your dad working?
No, my 7-year-old father is not working, and he's a triple diamond.
So not only did you build yourself to presidential, but you also helped your dad build to triple.
Yeah.
I mean,
he was my triple.
Yeah. So I don't know if Allie has anything, but I would love for you to talk a little bit about like shifting back to like a year ago this time because like we had just met. So we're like comparing and talking about like where we're at, where we're trying to go. Like what was like, you talked about your mindset shift. And I know Mary Beth said something to you that really spurred things.
Yes.
Like what were you doing? Like what personal development were you doing, or what were you digging into and trying to figure out?
Yeah. So for me, again, you have to know your personality colors. Being a red green, I'm very competitive and I'm very analytical. So what I like is that my red keeps my green from being too analytical, but the green keeps me very organized and structured. And again, that's just who I am. And so because of who I am, I can get that competitive streak. And so what Mary Beth, after getting to know me, this wasn't the first thing that she said, but after the first couple of weeks of really working with me, I went to the Nashville mini boot camp that was that month. And when I walked across the stage with a double diamond, she said, "You're never walking across the stage as a double diamond again." And if you know Mary Beth Dodd, she's like the sweetest person, but she wasn't sweet in that sense. She was tough on me, and she's been very tough on me. Like, I need that. Like, I respond when Jade Hooper does videos yelling at people, like I respond to that. No, that's not everybody, right? Some people are yellows, but that's what I need. And because of who I am, for me, like people are like, why do you go to so many events? Like I need to go to events and look at people like Allie or Jade or whoever and be like, I am going to get there. Like that's what I need. And that's my personal development. That's what keeps me focused and motivated. Because otherwise, if I'm sitting right here, I'm in my beautiful new office in Portland, Maine. My team's largely local. They say they're so positive to me. They're not giving me criticism, but if I believed all that hype, I wouldn't grow. So I need to go out and challenge myself. That's how I work. So, or be challenged rather, to go to the next thing. So for me though, because I was struggling with so much self-worth issues, I've read so much in my life for work and for school. I'm not a good reader. I know people love so many books or audiobooks, but I just don't have the patience for that. For me, I really like doing 5-minute TD Jakes videos or something like that really gets my brain going in the morning. So this is going to make people laugh, but every morning during that month in September, I drop my son off at school. I come back to my office. I would try to find some kind of 5-minute motivational video. And then I literally put on house music and dance for 5 minutes until all of my nervous energy was out and all of my, all this fear, I can't do this. I'd sit here and I dance. You got to think about what works for you. That may not be everything, right? So you guys may have your own thing and maybe going for a run. So for me, I'm not going to sit and read Rachel Hollister, even though I know everybody loves her. I'm going to put on house music and dance for 5 minutes and then listen to Steve Furtick or whoever. But back then when I was really trying to shape my beliefs, one of the things that also really helped me, a couple things really helped me on that mindset that may help other people. Because I was newly single and I had my bedroom all to myself, I put 4 huge affirmations, which I'd never done in my entire life on anything, huge affirmations on my wall, not literally on the wall, but on a big piece of paper. They're actually sitting in my office right now. And at that time they said, I'm triple diamond. I can do this. I am fearless and I will change lives. And I would say that I'd wake up and I'd say that to myself about 10 times. I'd go to bed, say that. And even, during September, a year later, September 2018, I look at that now, it says I am Ambassador Diamond. I will say that because sometimes you just have to say it and say it and say it. And it's not just having it on your phone now. So that was a big thing. The other thing that really helped me a ton, and I was coaching my team on a lot the last few months on promotions, is visualization. So you know how when you do sports, like they'll tell you visualize crossing the finish line first or whatever. Allie's going to laugh at this in particular, and so is Jenny, but I literally visualized every single day in September, sometimes multiple times, the moment that I texted Cammie and Mary Beth the picture that said Mira Denning Presidential Diamond out of the tree viewer. Literally had it in my head multiple times a day. That visualization would conquer so many fears. So people look at people like me that are on a run, triple going pres, and think they don't have any fears. Guys, I was racked with fear every day. I put it out there, what if I don't succeed? What if I don't succeed? So every morning, I would love that, Amy. Every single morning when I come back from my son's school, I literally be almost in panic mode. Like, how the heck am I going to get this done? And so I had all of those little tricks. It didn't take a lot of time. And I got so much, that visualization got so much part of my routine that, that I literally could go there without even consciously telling myself to do it after a couple weeks. And I'd be like literally walking to the kitchen and it would go in my head, texting Cammie and Mary Beth that picture. It really helped me conquer my fears. So your visualization may be texting Jenny, right? Or texting Amy Smith or whoever. You know, it doesn't have to be Cammie and Mary Beth, but something like that can really help force your brain and your heart to believe. Okay, that's what I'm sorry, I get to keep talking, but I'm gonna stop talking.
No, that was awesome. Allie, did you have anything you wanted? I've been like kind of hijacking this.
Oh my gosh, no, I'm just like, tell me everything. Soaking it all up. So, I mean, I think one thing I would love to hear that I think people need to hear is like, just like, I don't know, because I think there's something, like you said, you knew that just diamond money wasn't enough, like double money wasn't enough. But like in those hard days, you know, you're a single mom, dealing with a divorce, like that is some hard, heavy stuff. Still having to show up for work, show up as a family member, show up as a parent. Like, what made you keep doing it? How did you know you were worth it? How did you just know you would succeed at it?
You know, when I was pushing for triple, I really honestly, you know, I did not know. Well, let me back up. So I kind of feel like, Allie, when you're working on brain issues and specifically around a promotion, I feel like there's two mindset shifts that happen. The first one, which happened to me in September, is that you believe you can do it. Okay. So if you believe, like I struggled with believing I couldn't do it, that I wasn't worth it. I got over the worthiness because I was like, this is stupid. Like I just, for me, obviously I was worthy of doing whatever I wanted in my life, and getting toxic people in and having good people feed my brain helped that. But did I still believe I could do it? That was for me harder. Once I believed I could do it, I was like, there's no reason I'm not going to go for it. I think where you're going to is like, what kept me working every day is something that my why was just really strong. I mean, the why has to be there for something this hard, because I was working insane hours for 6 months to go triple. Okay. It wasn't, again, not 6 weeks, 6 months. So, and how did I get there? So I think honestly, my why was really strong. Financially, like my divorce, while it kind of cut off the bleeding, it did put a huge spotlight on the bleeding. We still owed hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you heard me on stage, any of you on green carpet, I'm now over $200,000 of debt down. So, but I was still looking at these massive bills as a single mom, and this was really my only way to change that. And in September of 2017, I wasn't sure that I was ever going to go full time at work still. So it's really about like, I am so scared about money. I'm going to run to triple to pay off all this debt, so that my son and I, you know, we can kind of start fresh. So I had that positive environment, and the why was so strong. And I think if you're comfortable where you are financially, it's really hard to work as hard as I had to work for as long as I had to work. But I was so uncomfortable financially. So the first thing about promotions, you got to believe you can do it. And a lot of people really struggle with that. I mean, I work with people on my team all the time that they don't really believe that they can do it. But if you can conquer that, then that's the first step. And then when you come to the month that you're actually going to promote. So for me, that was March for triple, obviously, in September for Prez. You have to decide that you are going to do it. And I think that's one thing that when I talk to a lot of double diamonds that struggle with triple, that's one of the things that I don't hear sometimes, is that they haven't decided they're just going to make it happen. Both my triple and my Prez months came when my team was maybe 80% ready. If you wait until everybody's ready, like, it's never going to happen. You just have to say, this is the month and I'm going to go. And in fact, Jenny's triple story reminds me of that as well. Like, just, it came to be that month, August, right? August. And it was just like, it's happening. So I think to me, when I'm coaching around mindset, I really try to suss out, okay, does this person even believe that they can promote, and working through that? Do they have a why that's going to drive them to work that hard? And then, when you come to the month, and I coach my team really hard on this, it's like, it's not an if, it is a now. We're going to decide that this is happening now. And people if you're the leader, people pick up on that. They're going to follow you. I don't know if I'm answering your question, Ali, but that's.
No, that was awesome. That's awesome. So there's definitely questions coming in.
Sorry guys, I'm not really looking.
No. Don't worry about them. We'll kind of hash things back to you. But, somebody said, well, first I want to know, you say you're pouring into your team, you're communicating to your team. How do you do that? Is that, are you using team pages? Are you using group messages? Do you do a lot of Zooms with your team? Are you one-on-one with your leaders? Like, how, because clearly you're duplicating. Somebody said, I want to know how you found all these runners. And I know exactly what it was. You started running and the people started chasing you. So you had that clear vision and you probably claimed it very boldly to your team. So, but how you're duplicating, your team is absolutely duplicating. So what sort of communication systems? That's what I want to know. Like, how are you duplicating like that?
Yeah. So I think, so obviously with the team at this size, it's a whole different ballgame. But if I think about probably a lot of people on the Zoom, like, how did I start this? And how do I, and cause everything's kind of consistent from when I started. I think in some ways it's not necessarily the how, it's the what. But we do have an extremely active team page, which is not always present. Now that the team is so big, we definitely have separate chats for, diamonds and double diamonds have their own chats, but we do have just a massive team page at this point. We haven't broken out into separate team pages. During every single month, basically since I started on my promotion runs, pretty much, maybe more like this year anyways, around mid-month, so we're basically there right now. Anybody that's going for promotion or really pushing or wants to push, I usually pull them into a separate group chat for the last 2 weeks of the month. And there we'll communicate, like, here's a daily checklist and here's posts to use, all sorts of strategies around promoting, which we can talk about. One of the things I've really worked hard on is how do you burst out in promotion months and then kind of rein it back in so you don't drive your entire market nuts. And that's something that I've kind of worked really hard on the last 6 to 8 months. So that's kind of, we have those promotion pushes. I do a lot of one-on-ones. Again, last couple of months, now the team is so big because I can't really do one-on-ones like just with all the people that I know or even all my personally enrolled, just on schedule. There's too many people. I'll do like open office hours now. I don't think you need to do that. Like, I didn't do that when I was a double diamond, but now I literally have office hours every week and people can pick times, so that I'm not missing anybody that wants to talk to me on the whole team. So I think that's a lot of it, but I think I really would emphasize, like, it's okay to have a different communication style. And for example, if your team page is dead, like, pull your workers into a chat and re-energize things, or maybe even do a full new team page if you're, a big team or whatever it is. It's more the how though, right? So for me, huge shift to go from pulling people who didn't really want it. And, I was consistent in working my business, but where I wasn't consistent, Allie, was vision casting for myself and ultimately for them, and to give people, kind of duplicable activities. So the how is really what's changed things. And so again, you could use different communication forms. For me, once my brain got right and my vision went right, every new distributor that I was bringing in the last 13 months doesn't know the Mira from before. They just know the Mira that says, this is my vision. We're going to go to the top. We're going to be the first ambassador team in New England. I don't know if we actually will be, but we're working on that. We've all this vision casting into the team and then with individual leaders. And so when somebody comes in and they're hungry, they already see now this culture of success, hard work, and no excuses. The best thing about being the hardest working team as the top leader in the team is that nobody can give you excuses. You call everybody out, and I'm not mean about it. I'm past that phase of my life, being in my 40s. I'm not about being mean to people anymore. When I was a lawyer in my 20s, I could be real tough on people, but it is true that I'm going to spend 80% of my time with my top 10, 15 people, and then train them, right? And train them how I've gotten where I'm going. And we then have systems. We have systems for new distributors. We have systems for people learning how to recruit. We have systems, like I said, during promotion month. And you don't need to have all these systems from the beginning. You can go incrementally. You can go incrementally on culture. But I will say the biggest thing is the how. You got to start running from the front and figure out how to vision cast. Those are the two biggest things. And the people that want that with you are going to go, and then you can build the systems over time. The way, Allie, that people ask me about systems, like everybody's so different. And again, I'm so green. Like it's easy for me to do that kind of stuff. And it's not easy for everybody who's different color personalities. But what I say to people is think about what you're already telling every single distributor that comes in your team or enroll, and then figure out a way to create a system that they can get that information without you having to spend the one-on-one time. Okay. Now that doesn't mean you'll still spend one time, but like create, like if you're teaching everybody in week 4 how to recruit, develop some kind of system to train them on that. So that's kind of a way to think about it is what are you doing already for everybody, and then come up with a way to shortcut that for yourself. I don't know. I'm all over the place again.
No, so good. I'm like, okay, well, I need to clearly go back. And because everything you say, my head just like jumps somewhere else. And then, and then I'm like, I'm going to have to come back and watch this recording and like take notes. So Jenny, you want to take it from here? I know we have a bunch of other questions we wrote out to make sure we miss stuff.
One thing I did want to ask really quick, Mira, because I think that you're a little bit unique in this, in that, like, talk to us about your team and how you are building your team and where you're finding them. I know they're local. I mean, and are you using Instagram? I mean, because like, I know the answer to this, but
yes,
it's something to talk about, because I think so many people think, oh my gosh, I have to do social media. I have to do Instagram. Like, how are you building? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. So honestly, you guys, like, I opened my Instagram account for the first time in 2 months today because Mark Pentecost tagged me in something. And I'm like, oh, it was just my he did that for all the new promotion. No, I build 100% on Facebook in terms of social. And I'll be honest, like, I think about that all the time because that means most of my team does as well. That's what I train on. That's what I know. And sometimes I do think that's there's some people in there that might thrive on Instagram, but me and my team largely were all Facebook. And then also as Jenny was alluding to, this wasn't necessarily how I started, but over this whole run, the last 13 months, I've really focused on building locally. Really over the last 2 years. When that woman joined that I described at 20 months, she came in, she lives 3 minutes away. We didn't know each other, but lives 3 minutes away. We actually became really close really fast. And all of her network was local, obviously, because that's just the way it works. She was a teacher, and we recruited a lot of local teachers in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Maine, and on her team. And I say we because what I was doing, she was so new, obviously helping her with that. and obviously now she's a killer herself. But I focused on, we did parties, we did coffee dates, play dates with her network, and built a local strong leg. And I was like, okay, granted, I'm working full time, and this is cray right now in terms of time, but these people are hungry, they're excited, and I'm getting to really know them in person. And it just created like a much stronger bond that I was able to nurture. And then I started duplicating that with my own recruiting, and then I duplicated it in my social media. So of my 4,300 friends or whatever, 85% of them are local, meaning they're in northern New England. And so what I do now deliberately is whether I'm doing host to post or adding friends or whatever I'm doing, I'm really focusing on my local market, and what that's local being those 3 states, because what that does is I've just found it gives me a lot of credibility with prospects for me to say, oh yeah, I live like just 45 minutes away in Maine. If you wanted to do an event, like we could come down, or if you want to meet and have coffee, we can meet in the middle. It's really, really helped me a lot. And especially since I'm in my 40s, and a lot of my recruits are 40s, 50s, I have 2 rock stars that are in their 60s. Those are folks that like to meet in person. They're still building on Facebook, but they like to meet in person. So, and just in my demographic, I just feel like that cuts the credibility gap. A lot of people in that age group are not on IG. So that's kind of how I build lots and lots of different Facebook stuff. I do live videos, host to post, lots and lots of attraction marketing. Everything that you guys already hear. I'm not unique, but I am unique in that my market's so locally focused, and I don't do IG.
And you do a lot of parties.
We do a lot of parties.
Someone sign up, like join as a distributor, you're going to launch them and have a launch party, right?
Yeah. We usually, so here's my trick on parties, because I hear a lot from people like, people, if you say it right away, like they don't want to do, like, just a lot of grumbling. So with parties, my trick is now I have people launch on social. I have them do social for about a week or 2 before we even talk about parties, but then I'll schedule we'll work to schedule their parties about week 4, week 5. So obviously they're usually getting their first customers off of social, or maybe they're doing in-person stuff, where they meet somebody at work or whatever. What I find with that is at that point, they've already bought in a little bit more. It's easier to get people to commit to the party because they're like 2-3 weeks in, and I can say to them, hey, you already have all these leads off of Facebook or whatever it is. If we do a party, I know we'll close some because they'll be able to taste, touch, smell things. And they know people they can invite. Sometimes it's hard if they've joined and they haven't even launched on social. It's like scary. Like it just is scary to do a part. I don't know. People are weird. So anyways, I just found that to be a very successful strategy, especially since my team is local. It makes it a lot easier because they know I'm going to come, or all of our leaders. This is so funny, Jenny. I meant to say this on stage in Grand Rapids, but we had 5 people go diamond or double diamond just in September. We've had 8 diamonds and 3 or 4 doubles this year. All but 1 are in Maine, which is crazy. Wow. Crazy. So all the leaders are right here to kind of shape all these parties and do all this. So,
and think about what it was when the mini boot camp a year ago. I know.
Just Erica was the only diamond. So,
yeah.
So anyways, yes, parties are huge, and that's kind of been my trick at getting people to actually do them and see the value because they've already gotten a little bit of momentum.
Yeah. Awesome. And okay, so Allie, I'll just ask like the question everybody wants to know. How the heck did you sign like 6,000 in volume in 2 weeks?
Yeah. Okay. Well, the one thing I want to say, because nobody has ever asked me this question, but I'm going to come to that. No, I'm going to come to that, is how did you start mass enrolling distributors?
Okay, yeah.
Can we start with that question?
Yeah, start with that question.
Because here's the thing. Nobody has ever asked me that, but I literally was not I had a couple of really great months over my first couple of years, but so one thing is obviously my branding was good on Facebook, but that's been for a while. I got to a point where I knew how to tell my story and be very authentic and very loud about my story. But if you're not being loud, and I have to tell even my leaders all the time about you got to keep telling your story, because eventually it's going to trigger somebody every single day, you know? But the real magic for me came with my mindset shift. What I realized, and this is just so important for people in the age of host to post, where people do fall in love with host to post and how many LCs they can sign. The only way I was going to go from paid as diamond to triple was to start enrolling distributors like a mad woman, because you cannot fill yourself to triple. I don't even care if you're charted, if you are a diamond. And so this is, I think, one of the biggest things that it doesn't get said a lot. But if you are sitting here and you are a ruby and you want to go emerald or diamond, or you're an emerald and you're like, I want to go double by conference, you need to focus pretty much all of your time on recruiting. So I want you guys to hear this about my story. Those 6 months where I was going from diamond to triple, guys, I didn't care where I ended up in my rank. I didn't care if I ended up at double or diamond. If I hit double a couple months on volume, like when they had the Black Friday special, and then I went back to diamond in December. I didn't care. All I cared about was, I'm going to build a team that can carry me to triple. I'm going to build this third leg. I'm going to build my second leg. Erica was close to double. I'm going to coach her to double, to recruit. And because literally 100% of my time, I'm not sure that I signed more than a couple loyal customers those 6 months every month. I mean, I signed a couple every month. I didn't even care about fast starts that much. I was like, I'm just signing distributors and I'm coaching. So my MO has been sign distributors, coach. And that is almost 100% of my time. And so what I see a lot of times when I talk, again, I do a lot of conversations with doubles about going triple. They're like, I'm signing, 50, 60 LCs on my team. How do I get my team to duplicate that? And I'm like, well, that's a good question. But my first question to you is, do you have the manpower distributors to get to triple and maintain it? And so I just want people to hear that, because if your vision is to go 2 or 3 ranks higher, over the next 12 months, you just need to focus on distributors. I mean, that is the way to do it. Okay. So I'm going to say that. So that energy and that realization was when I became a mass enroller. And then obviously, as my story's gotten bigger, my confidence has gotten bigger. I've gotten better and better at talking to people. I've got so many feelers out. That's why I'm signing now 20, 30 a month. But that's not where I started. So anyways, I wanted to start there. So let me talk about last month in Bali.
And I think that is important to say, because I think Genevieve Sykes said it, like, she said, if you want to go diamond, look at a diamond chart and you see 25 boxes and just put it on that it's your responsibility to sign them, even though you won't, like you have a team doing it. But if you tell yourself it is like your job to sign the people in those boxes, if you want to go diamond, like, then it's, you give yourself the account.
100%. So. And I love that, Jenny, that you said that. I like everybody else, several times over my first 18 months, I would blame my team. Mm-hmm. Several times, all the time. You will never hear that from me, ever. It does not even enter this brain anymore. And I used to totally go there all the time, and so know that most people that are successful, we all have different personalities and styles and all that stuff and insecurities, but we take full accountability. That is huge. You cannot be a VIP leader and at least stay there if you're not taking full accountability. Okay. So, but do you want me to talk about the LCs now? Sorry.
Yes, please.
Sorry. Denny and I are like best friends. So like we can be ridiculous with each other. Okay. So, so in terms of the LCs, what I did was, they're almost why I wanted to talk about like the focus that I had on distributors. I looked at my presidential chart, and I had 2 new diamonds I built out of the July promotions that had been 0, which is kind of, even I'm like, how did that happen? But that's beautiful. And a lot of it, again, great people on there, super motivated, recruiting themselves. So, some of that is luck and some of that is just the energy around my team right now. But I had older legs that were actually dead, or sections of them were dead, or not quite where they need to be. So I was like, okay, Mira, you're like 15,000 root volume away from Prez. And that was what, Jenny, when I was talking to you kind of earlier in September.
Yeah.
And so I was still charting Prez. So I really focused on getting charted. And then, but then in terms of the volume, what I did personally was, granted, this was my full-time job. So I was doing host to post. I was doing 3 power hours, full hours. I literally would put on like MSNBC or Bravo or something, and then I wouldn't listen to it. But I need background noise, and I would power hour through host to post requests. Now I have 4,200 friends. This is one of my promotion tricks. I have been very careful that I don't call in favors until I really need them. Okay. So I held all these favors. I had so many favors in the bank when I went triple. And then, I've built and expanded my network over the last 6 months. So, I'm doing giveaways and stuff like that every month, but I wasn't calling in favors, people that didn't hit on giveaways. And I had 4,200, 4,300 friends. So I would sit and I did power hours 2 or 3 times a day for the last 2 weeks of the month. Where I asked people to host a post, had a really, tug on your heart's message. I'm doing this for Canby, here's my sweet son. Like, I don't mean to be jaded because I really meant it too, but like, I really need this help. Would you be willing to do a post for me? And I wrote like everybody, like everybody. And then, obviously, I focused first on, my warm market and my loyal customers and people that I had some connection to, but then I had to, eventually go out into my cold market. So then the host to post that I use always, and again, this is through trial and error because I've tried other ones, and this is what works for me, is just a 90-day weight loss challenge one. I mean, it's not fancy. I'm happy to share it with Allie and Jenny, and they can circulate it. There's nothing magic about it, but what I like about it is it already has the 90 days in it. And because it's part of it, so I don't have to explain that so hard. And then also it's about weight loss. So I would always recommend triple threat, but I also had scripts around like, what's your like I always start a conversation with my host to post because I feel like if you go straight to products, it's kind of very transactional feeling. So my first question to them is always like, thanks so much for the note in the post. I'm happy to go over the products with you. I'd love to hear about your goals. And they say whatever they say. And I'll usually say that that's so helpful. Just one last question, I promise. Can you tell me about your diet? Because if somebody's like eating junk, then obviously like triple threat with fat fighters makes sense. But if they're eating clean or not eating enough, then I might suggest other things and fat fighters and throw in probiotics or the cleanse or whatever. And then I would upsell keto coffee or whatever. But so I was getting every order, like almost every order was 80 BB or more. I had some that were combos at 59 with greens and its vital core, but most were 80 or more. And, I just, obviously based on those 3 hours of host to post requests, I would do whatever follow-ups were needed all day, all night, effectively. And so that's how I was bringing in, a few hundred BB every day because I was getting really big orders. Let me give you a couple of strategies that I use that's a little bit more specific too. So when I was targeting markets, the markets that I found were most helpful for me were markets, obviously if they were like a middle to upper middle class market, so not, I wasn't going to go to the 22-year-olds that were college students. Because I know there's 22-year-old college students. I have a ton on my team as well. I'm like, go to your mom and your mom's friends because they're going to have the more disposable income and all of that and be more willing to spend, $100 usually. I mean, I'm making generalizations. And I was looking at my older market. So I was looking really at that 35 plus market because I knew, again, for me also, I can say to the story, like I lost 30 pounds in this product and I'm in my 40s. Like that resonates with them. Like, oh my gosh, nothing ever works for me. I want to try it. So I did that, Jenny, as my core foundational, bring in tons of new customers or new potential customers. And then posting wise, I was doing extremely tight branding every single day. And you probably saw some of it. Every single post was a before and after of either triple threat or keto coffee and chocolate greens. And what happened is I'd sign people on triple threat and they'd see the keto coffee and greens. They're like, oh, can I add that too? I'm not even kidding. Like, it sounds cliche when I've heard other people say it, but then like it happened to me like, a third of the time they'd be like, and that's another 60 BB on a 94 BB order. So, and they, they might be separated. So I really, and then when I was doing targeted branding, and I've learned this over and over again, and then sometimes I forget it. Sometimes people think it's better to like do like the kitchen sink in terms of the breadth of the products that you promote. But the fact is that people, like all advertisements, if you keep saying the same message, same message, same message, same message, so I'm saying same product or same combo or same approach, that actually penetrates people's brains better. Every time I've done that, I don't know why I go away from it. That's when I get all of my warm market or lukewarm market start writing me like, Mira, what is this? What is this? Because they're seeing me post about it like every single day. So I actually got a lot of orders from lukewarmy market or people that were originally cold market I've been building relationships with, because I wouldn't shut up about the triple threat and the stupid skinny mocha, And so sometimes I've gone through periods where I'm doing a shake post and then a cleanse post and then a Fit 15. I'm all over the map. But I feel like just every time I really focus on one or two messages really sharp, like so 1 or 2 products or whatever or like I was saying, triple threat, just nonstop, like I do better. So I got good PV off of that. And then the last piece, which cannot be denied, is that I was so loud about my promotion. So the last 5 days, and I actually talked to Jenny about this quite a bit. And I've been doing this since February. February was the first month where we had lots of promotions on my team coming off a conference. I got my dad from Ruby to Diamond that month, and lots of lessons learned from that. And I've continued to learn how to help people promote. You got to be wicked loud. I mean, wicked loud. You've got to ask for favors. You got to ask for help. You got to not shut up. So like that whole last week, like I had, my bestie posting for me on my page, let's help Mira. She's a single mom. It's her only income. Guys, we got to help Mira. Then I do a post the next day. Friends and family, I need your help. Here are all the products. And then it's not one post. It was like every single day, 2 or 3 posts. So literally the last 2 days, and again, Jenny follows me. She sees all my posts and helps me boost them during these kind of things. I'd be like, guys, I'm 6 orders away from a $40,000 bonus. I must have gotten 20 orders from that post. Because people in my warm or lukewarm market were like, Mira, we want to help you. What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? I'm like, oh my God, do you want the skinny mocha? So it just, you have to be so loud. And I think sometimes that can be nerve wracking, but that was really, and that's happened. Like, that's what we do every month. Like, that is like my team's MO. So when people ask, like, how do people promote every month on your team? We just bake that in. Like, that's part of the promotion push group. Whoever's promoting, and we only do it when you're actually promoting, right? So you're only going to be calling, like you're saying, Allie, rally the troops when it's time. So those were kind of the 3 pieces. And that's, no, I kind of made the 6 up.
Yeah,
I'm always making that up.
6 away at that point.
Yeah, I was about 3,000 BV away. So that's it's okay.
Yeah, but they don't know that.
Yeah, no.
Okay, one last thing. So going through these huge months of like major momentum and promotions and you promoting, your team promoting, talk a little bit about like thinking back to like prior to February and then how it is now, like the energy. I mean, like, do you have like the people that are, promoting, like you have group chats and like, how does that energy feel compared to how it was before? Because
I mean, like, even going back to October, I feel like when I started hitting these Christmas cash numbers, like, here's the thing. I was like, nobody knew who I was. I didn't think I was worthy of anybody knowing who I was until, and then October, November, they started doing the Christmas cash. So even then, Jenny, because I was suddenly getting like on public posts and it was like, whoa, what? And so my whole team caught that. I'm just going to go back. Like, the energy is insane, but it started with me. It started with a decision and started with a very, very small group of people. And so, it really, honestly, again, going back to that Erica joining in my 20-month mark. But really that September, October push. And, it's enormous. Like, it's overwhelming. Our team has tripled since January. Tripled. I'm overwhelmed every day. I'm like, what, how did this happen? And how do I help everybody and all that? But But I tell this to people all the time. It's not about where I'm at today. If you want to, even if you're just like, I just want to go diamond and you're ruby, you just got to start, and your energy can feed the 10, 15 people you need to go to be a strong diamond. And I remember looking at people that were presidentials and thinking that's so unattainable. But guys, all it started was like, I just decided, like I'm going to go. And I do want to say, there's people on the team that are not all runners. So how do you deal with that? Well, what I've learned in my, my time is to be kind and to understand that different people are, different at different places, and to make them feel welcome and say that's okay. In fact, a lot of my team live, I do team live videos every Sunday night. I do a training. I'll say to them, if you're not feeling it right now, it's okay. We've all been through seasons, but then I'm not going to put a lot of time into them also, Jenny. So I think, that you got to create that culture. It's a real balancing act as a team leader, whether you're Ruby or not, more. But the energy is insane. And you just, I can't stop now because I just worry if I stop, the team will stop. So we'll just keep going. So.
You got that momentum. You got to keep going.
Yep.
Ride it out. But it's fun, right? Like, it's more fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's fun what the money can do for my family. Like, I'm so relaxed. Like, the quality of my life is completely different. Being able to come out to St. Louis just for fun, like not even worrying about that plane ticket, and taking Camby on a first couple adventures, being home full time. I mean, all of it's amazing. And all I can say is the struggle was so worth it, and the lessons that I learned, the downs that I had. I learned so much because of my failures and my downtimes, and that, that's all I can say about it. People have to realize that for themselves, that's going to be okay. But
yeah,
you just got to keep going.
What was your pay raise from August to September?
All right. Well, my July to August pay raise was $11,000. And then my August to September pay raise was $7,000. So that's a total 2-month pay raise of $18,000.
That's insane. That's insane. That's that's like more than what that's just your raise.
Yes, that's just my raise. I hadn't made $18,000 a month before this.
You guys, raises are more than presidential average. Let's think about that. And so when you want to know the power of personally enrolling a lot of people, that's it right there. When you personally enroll and you teach them to run their auto ships and get their own customers. Because Mira, you sign a boatload of customers, but you can't fast start everyone, right? You've got to teach them to do it themselves. So, but you guys, and then one of those people starts enrolling, that's what happened to Mira's check. And it's that momentum grows into multiplication. And that's the true exponential growth of network marketing. And that's where I'm sure Mira's bank account, what was your reaction on this 8th of this month when commissions posted? What did you do?
The thing is, my check was so much bigger in August, and a lot of that was the cabs from the July $20 deal. So I'm like, oh, don't be disappointed if it's about the same or a little bit less, even though you're pres. And I was like, WTF, because my dad also went to triple and got the triple bonus. So I just was like, this is just crazy time. So absolutely amazing. Hey, I had one more thing that I had on my list as a must say.
Yeah.
Are you going to kill me if I add one more thing?
I was about to say, what's your one last piece?
Okay. This is another reason why I wanted a Ruby or a Ruby and above Zoom, because, and some of this is coming from my old job. I used to be a strategic planner. That was my old job for the corporation I work for. So what I find is that, we give a lot of checklists out, right? We give the 6 lists and the checklists and the newbies, and this is what you should do every day, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I know some people need that for accountability, but one of the biggest things that changed for me was when I went from that's effectively, and I'm sorry to use lingo from my old job, that's process measures, right? That's your action. And sometimes you need that to stay accountable. But when you can, and you guys are rubies and above, when you can, instead of having a process goal, have an outcome goal, right? How many distributors are you going to sign this week? How much BV are you going to sign this day before you go to sleep? how many, what's your goal for this month for, building this friend of Ruby or whatever. Outcome goals are how I built the last 13 months. So I learned this from Stephanie Dunn. Her first year at some point, my first year at some point, I heard her say she just focused on how many DTs she needs this month. So I am very different from a lot of people. I do not use, people ask me all the time, what are your daily non-negotiables? What's your checklist? No, what I set every week is how many distributors do I want to sign for, for a reason, right? I'm trying to build a Ruby here, or like during my presidential run, I'm going to fill this box today, and I'm not going to stop until it's filled. And so I just would encourage you guys to think more in terms of outcome goals and less about, I did my 6 lists and I'm good. And I don't mean to be flippant about them because they're important, especially to new distributors and stuff. But I think this is a huge difference maker between me and some other people that struggle sometimes of like, okay, I'm doing all the right things. Why isn't it happening? Just focus on the results. I mean, seriously. And if you're not getting the results from those actions, then change your actions. But that for me has been a massive way that I've coached my team differently than I think a lot of other people. Okay. I say, this is your goal for this week because you want to go this promotion, and so on and so forth. That's all I want to say. That was my last thing I wanted to say that I've never said on the Zoom before, but somebody needed it. I just want to say it out loud.
That was awesome because I think you're right. I think a lot of times we think, oh, we put in our hour on our power hour, so we're good. But if what we were doing, I mean, and it's all good things that need to be done, but if it doesn't produce the outcomes that we need, then it didn't get us closer to our goals. So I love that. That was awesome. Allie, do you have anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I'm just so proud of you, Mira, and I'm just so thankful that I met you because you are, man, you don't even know it, but you're in my circle. I just like consume, like Mira's like see first at the top of my Facebook. Like, and that's like, guys, when somebody is so on fire, just like get close to that energy and soak it up. And Mira, I just think you're amazing. And we have a lot of personality similarities, and you're just all business and just knock it out of the park every time. So big fangirl right here, and cheering you on for ambassador, because I know that with the momentum you have, like you're unstoppable. It'll be there before you know it.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, you have 5 legs of runners. So
we're getting there. No, it's amazing. And I have to say thank you to, of course, Jenny, who's been like, Jenny's my person that I can voice memo at 2 a.m. having a panic attack. It's just been like, I'm so blessed to have her in my life. And Allie, thank you so much for being such a huge support for me.
You're welcome.
Being kind of an orphan without an upline. Nobody has an excuse if you don't have an upline. You could find those people out there, but thank you so much for doing that for me, Allie.
Oh, well, our team, we're just the adoption center. We just bring them all in. So no, I love you. And I did record this, and so I'll get it up on YouTube hopefully tonight. We'll see how fast my very archaic computer decides to process it. But definitely by tomorrow I'll have it up on YouTube. So all right.
Thank you.
Sweet. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Good night.